name is Akshay and welcome back to a brand new season of FPL. The game launched a couple days ago and I'm so excited to get started to give you guys the best tips and expert advice and all sorts of amazing stuff to help you rank higher in your FPL this year. I've been working really hard on the graphics and motion graphics for my videos, preparing for the new season, so I cannot wait to show you. Some of them are going to be showcased in this video, so let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of the whole new design going on. And also, this is my first proper year starting from the start of FPL, because like you guys know, I did start my FPL YouTube channel and FPL content creation in January, so it's my first proper season having a crack at being an FPL content creator, so I cannot wait to get started. But anyway, I'm going to stop rambling now and I'm going to show you my first draft for the brand new FPL season, so let's get into it. So we're going to begin in goal and defense, so here we go. In goal I have Johnston, and then in defense I have Trent, Gabriel, Shaw and Estepinian. I'm going to have enhanced statistics for all of, well, specific players that I want to talk about a little bit more in depth, so make sure you don't miss that. Just hang in there. But yeah, we'll start with Johnston. I could have gone with Johnston or Pickford. They're both 4.5 mil. However, Johnston did end the season really well and he was in the top 6 out of all goalkeepers for points, and he was only about 3-4 points off being the second highest scored goalkeeper for the last 10 games. So he had a really good end to the season, and now Roy Hodgson has been confirmed as the new Crystal Palace manager. Well, not the new Crystal Palace manager, as in he's staying on as the Crystal Palace manager. It will add a lot more security to the side, and I think they're just going to kind of carry on where they left off, if not even improve, because he did really well with the squad they had, in my opinion. So that's why I've gone with Johnston. He does get a decent amount of bonus points as well. I know a lot of people are favouring Pickford because he gets save points and stuff like that, but actually in the last 10 games, Pickford got 3 bonus points and Johnston got 5 bonus points. So I don't know, he just nicks it for me. But like I said, this is a first draft, so things can change and probably will change quite dramatically come the start of the season. But now let's get into the defence. So like I said, Trent, Gabriel, Shaw and Estepinian, and we'll start with Trent. Liverpool have a bit of a rocky start to the season, I would say. They played Chelsea, then Bournemouth, which isn't too bad, then Newcastle away, Aston Villa and Wolves. So I would say there's 3 difficult-ish fixtures there, because Chelsea, I think, are going to be a whole brand new revamped Chelsea under Pochettino, and they've basically done a huge clear out, brought so many players in. So I don't think they're going to be anywhere near as bad as they were last season. Newcastle obviously is extremely difficult. And then Aston Villa, I think, are going to be the dark horse of the season. They kind of slowly and quietly got on with things last season and didn't get enough credit, I feel, for how well Emery did with them. So let's get into Trent's in-depth stats here. So this is one of the new screens. I hope you like the cool animation that I made for this. I'm very proud of this screen. I took a bit of inspo from FIFA, to be honest, but I wanted to create something that nobody else is really doing in the FPL community in terms of stats, because everybody normally just has it in a table format, and I just wanted to do something a little bit cooler. So let me know in the comments down below if you like it. But anyway, this is based off last season's stats, because obviously at the moment we don't have anything to go off apart from last season. However, there is 2 stats in this circle that is based on the upcoming season, but let me go through it all. So Trent last season scored 2 goals. He got 11 assists because he had an absolutely amazing end to the season in his new midfielder-ish role position. His expected assists were 13, so he actually underperformed what his expected statistics were for assists. Liverpool conceded 44 goals. They got 10 clean sheets with an expected clean sheets of 9, so he overperformed in that aspect. And then moving on to his game week 1 expected points. His expected points, well, the points he's expected to have are 5, and then across the first 5 games, Trent is expected to have 27 points. So overall, all round decent. I know he's coming at a big price point, but the way I look at things, right, if you had an £8 million midfielder who did everything Trent did, and obviously who can't get you the points that a defender gets for clean sheets, it would be a no-brainer to put an 8 million defender in who gets as many points as Trent. However, Trent has an extra bonus. You need to look at it as No, it's not a defender slot, even though it is a defender slot, because Trent is technically a midfielder the way he plays. So he gets all the points for assists. He may get a cheeky goal or two. He gets himself into very, very good positions, but he also gets the added bonus of having the clean sheet point. So it's like the best of both worlds merged together. So people might be put off by the 8 million price point, but for me, it's an absolutely no-brainer if you use that type of logic. But now going back to the defence, next up is Gabriel. Arsenal have a really, really nice run of fixtures to start the season with. Nottingham Forest, Crystal Palace, Fulham, Man United's a little bit difficult, and then Everton. So one really hard game out of their first 5, I would say. But yeah, let's move on to Gabriel's stats for last season. So he scored 3 goals, obviously no assists, he's a centre-back. Arsenal did concede 43 goals. However, Gabriel did keep 14 clean sheets while he was playing in the side, with an expected clean sheets of 11. So he did outperform the expected stats on that side of things. And then moving on to game week 1, he also has an expected points of 5, and over the next 5 games has an expected points of 22. But yeah, moving back onto the normal team here. So like I said, I do have Gabriel. However, Zinchenko is kind of pushing it as well for me to replace Gabriel. I'm back and forth with them too, and the reason why, you may be thinking, why are you even considering Zinchenko? He basically did rubbish last season in terms of points. But I've got a slight feeling that Arsenal may play a 3 at the back formation, or 3 or 5 at the back, whatever you want to call it, with 2 pretty much inverted wing backs. And Zinchenko is obviously going to find himself in a lot more attacking positions, much more higher up the pitch. So it kind of has the same logic as Trent in that aspect. You're kind of paying a cheaper price for a defender when they're kind of acting as a midfielder. But let's see what happens. I need to see pre-season. But anyway, now moving on to Luke Shaw. So Man United have a decent start to the season as well. They play Wolves, then away to Tottenham, then Nottingham Forest, and then against Arsenal, and then Brighton. So it's decent. It's difficult in some aspects, but Shaw is a very, very reliable FPL pick, as we all know. And let's get into his stats for last season. So he scored 1 goal. Nothing special there. 4 assists. His expected assists were 4, so he did match that. Man United did keep the most clean sheets in the league last season. Shaw, well, they only conceded 35 goals, but Shaw only kept 12 clean sheets. So Gabriel actually kept more clean sheets than Shaw, although Man United did keep more clean sheets overall as a team. However, obviously Shaw didn't play in all of those games. Shaw's specific expected clean sheets were 10, so he did outperform that stat in that aspect. And then going into the season, his expected points for the first game is 4.3, and then across the next 5 are 19. However, that isn't good on paper at all, to be honest. But Shaw is a very reliable player, and he's also a bonus points magnet. So I'm kind of favouring him there, and I do feel like Man United are going to be a lot stronger than they were last season. They had a decent season at the end of last season, to be fair. But I do think they're going to come a lot more structured in their side. Ten Hag's probably going to make some more signings that are going to balance the team a little bit more better. So yeah, that's why I'm kind of going for Shaw. I do trust him, and I think he's a very good FPL pick. But now going back to the team, the last defender I have is Estepinian. He's pretty much in everybody's FPL team. But anyway, let's get on to his stats for the last season. So he scored 1 goal, got 7 assists, outperformed his expected assist by 2 because that was 5. Brighton did concede 43 goals, and Estepinian himself kept 10 clean sheets with an expected clean sheets of 11. So he didn't live up to the expected clean sheets, but only bar 1, so it doesn't really matter. And then going on to the start of the season, he's expected to get 4.3 points, and across the first 5 games, 19 points. So again, nothing too special there, but I think the expected points are being a little bit harsh on Estepinian because he had some really, really explosive game weeks last season, and Brighton's fixtures as well. They also do have a decent start. They've got Luton, newly promoted Luton as the first game, then Wolves, then West Ham, and then it gets a little bit difficult with Newcastle and Man United. However, if they carry on anywhere near the way they played last season, I won't be too worried about their assets at all. But anyway, now moving on to the midfield, it's probably the most exciting part of the team. We have Saka, Bruno Fernandes, Rashford and Mitoma. But I will give you a little sneak peek to my bench because I do have Mbomo in my midfield on my bench. So anyway, let's start with the actual midfield that I have as my lineup, my starting lineup. So Saka will begin with. Obviously had an absolutely insane season last season. His stats were across the board amazing. Let's have a look at them actually. 14 goals, his expected goals were 11, so he outperformed that. 12 assists, his expected assists were 8, so he also outperformed that. And then for the midfield, I've done something slightly different. I've added expected goal involvements, which I believe is quite an important stat, and then also big chances created. So that's the difference between the defense, if you're wondering. It's a little bit different from the defense. His expected goal involvements were 19. However, he scored obviously 14 goals and got 12 assists, so that's 26. So he outperformed that by 7, which is really, really impressive. He only created 11 big chances throughout the season, but you see the big chances, let me know in the comments whether you want me to have just in general big chances for actual shots taken or big chances created for the midfielder section, because some midfielders are obviously playmakers and then some midfielders are goal scorers and then some are just all-rounded. So it's a little bit of a contradiction when I look at big chances, because sometimes it doesn't represent how good that player is, because that might not be his most strongest stat, if that makes sense. But someone like Kevin De Bruyne, his big chances created are much higher because obviously he's more of a playmaker than a goal scorer. However, yeah, let me know what you want me to do in the comments. I don't really know what to do with that aspect of things. But anyway, his expected points going into the first game of the season is 5.6, which is very nice. And then across the first 5 games, 27, which is also really, really good. So I think Saka's a must-have to have in your team. If you want to pick anyone out of the Arsenal midfielders, you've got obviously Martinelli, Saka and Ødegaard. Saka on penalties as well, also takes some of the corners. I think he's a no-brainer to have in your team to go into the start of the season with. Moving on to the 2 Man United men. So we'll start with Bruno Fernandes. We've already gone over the fixtures when we talked about Luke Shaw, so we'll get into his stats for last season. So he scored 8 goals. His expected goals were 10, so he was a little bit disappointing in that area, and the same goes massively goes for the assists. He got 9 assists, however, his expected assists were 18. It just shows how poor Man United's attack was last season, because to have that high of an expected assist and only get half of that, it's extremely random and rare. You just don't really see that. So he was a bit unlucky in that aspect. His expected goal involvements were 28, however, he only got 17 if you add obviously 9 and 8 together. So again, massively underperformed in that aspect too. So this is what I meant about the big chances. I don't know, Bruno's more of an overall round player. However, his big chances created were 32, which is nearly triple what Saka's was, because he does create a lot more chances than Saka does for other players, I would say. Moving into the first game week of the season, he's expected to get 5.1 points, and then across the first 5 games, 24 points. So again, I think he's a must-have to have in your team, but there's one reason for that. He is 8.5 mil, and to get somebody who is overall so all-rounded with goals and assists, big chances created, and literally every stat under the sun, to be honest. For 8.5 million, an absolute no-brainer in my opinion. And I believe he's going to be in a lot of first drafts for a lot of FPL managers' teams. So yeah, let me know what you guys are doing with Bruno Fernandes. Are you going to be picking him, or are you going to be picking Rashford, or are you going to be doing what I've done and pick both? But now let's get on to Rashford. So here are his stats for the last season. He had a very good season last season. He scored 17 goals, having an expected goals of 19, so he underperformed in that aspect a little bit. He got 7 assists, outperforming his expected assists of 6. So his goal involvements obviously were 24, so he did underperform in that aspect a tiny bit according to the expected stats. And he only created 5 big chances. So this is what I mean, again, touching on what I said, whether I should have big chances created there or just big chances in terms of a goal scoring aspect. Because Rashford, of course, is more of a goal scorer than a creator, which is why his big chances are created are quite low. However, if I put the big chances stat there, it would have been so much higher. So I don't know really don't really know what to do. I've said it about 3 times already. I won't say it again. Let me know what you want me to do in that aspect of things. But anyway, going on to the start of the season, he has an expected points of 5.1, and then across the first 5 games, an expected points of 24. So definitely another really good player to have. I do think he is a tad too expensive. I don't think they should have made him a £9 million player. I think an 8.5 would have sufficed, especially if they've dropped Bruno down to 8.5. It doesn't really make sense. But it is what it is. He is 9 mil, and at the moment he definitely is in my draft. But yeah, just going back to my team here, there is one other cool thing that I've created. So I want to compare, for example, Saka and Rashford. So I've made a player comparison screen in a little bit of a different style that you're used to seeing. So here it is on screen now. Let me know if you like the layout and stuff, what your thoughts are on all the new graphics. But anyway, let's compare Saka and Rashford in a head-to-head basically. So Saka is 8.5 mil, Rashford's 9 mil. Last season, Saka scored 14 goals, Rashford scored 17, so Rashford beat him on that side of things. However, Saka absolutely battered him on the assist side of things. He got 11 assists and Rashford only got 5 assists. However, they were really close when it came to points. So Saka finished the season on 202 points and Rashford finished the season on 205. So just nicked it in the end. And then as we can see, for expected points, Saka does nick it there. So a lot of people are going to have this dilemma whether to go with Saka or Rashford. A lot of people have both of them in their teams. But if you're struggling with this, hopefully this helps a little bit, just as you can see a head-to-head gauge on how they did last season. But anyway, going back to the team, I feel like so far it's shaping up quite nicely, but the last midfielder we do have is little Mitoma. Brighton, I've already gone through, they've got a decent start to the season as well. Their first 3 fixtures are looking very nice, but let's look at Mitoma's performance last season. He scored 7 goals. He had an expected goals of 9, so he underperformed in that aspect. However, I did watch Brighton quite a lot and he did miss some absolute sitters last season, so it's a fair stat there to have, that he did underperform. He got 9 assists, however, and he did outperform the expected assists of 7. He had an expected goal involvements of 16, which pretty much matches what he actually did get, so that's all good in that aspect. And then big chances created 9, and his expected points going into the season is 4 for the first game, and over the next 5 games is 19 points. So again, it's a bit meh, but I don't really feel like the expected points are doing him justice for how well he did last season. And I think he's a really good player, especially at 6.5 mil to have in your team. Extremely good value for money. But now finally, moving on to my attack, and also you'll be able to see my bench here. I have Haaland and Ferguson, and then on my bench I have Areola, Mbomo, Bell and Surridge. But yeah, let's talk about the attack. Haaland speaks for himself. Man City have an extremely good fixture run for the start of the season. He's an absolute must-have for your team. There is no question about it. Whether you're thinking, shall I be different and try and get like Kane and Salah as differentials, and not go with Haaland, just go with Haaland. Don't stress yourself out. It's going to cause you more stress mentally than probably anything that FPL can do to you, not having Haaland in your team. But yeah, anyway, let's get into his absolutely ridiculous season last season. He scored 36 goals with an expected goals of 30, so outperformed that. He got 9 assists and had an expected assist of 9, so he matched that. He had an expected goal involvement of 39. However, his actual goal involvements was 45, so he absolutely blew that out the park as well. So this is a little bit different on the attackers. Obviously, I'm going to include the actual big chances for goal scoring rather than chances created, because it doesn't make any sense having chances created there. He had 59 big chances last season. Absolutely mind-blowing. How can you have 59 big chances, man? Oh my god, it's just absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, going on to the start of the season, he has an expected points in game week 1 of 7.8, and then across the first 5 games has an expected points of 39. So yeah, like I said, Haaland speaks for himself. He's absolutely a must-have for your team, and probably going to be my captain for most weeks going into it, which is why I didn't go for a two premium or a threemium for my initial draft, because I just don't think it's worth it. But I do want to touch on Ferguson as well. He is actually a really underrated player. It was kind of his mini breakout season last season, which like put him on the map, if that makes sense. He's got such big potential, and every time I've seen him play, he's been really, really impressive. And for the actual starts that he made, his goal conversion was pretty good. So yeah, that is pretty much it for the initial first draft of my team. Let me know what you guys think. I think it's a pretty good initial draft to start with. If you'd make any changes to my team, then let me know. And also let me know your drafts in the comments down below, and I will help you as much as I can with them, and I'll rate them as well. Once again, let me know if you did enjoy the new graphics and animations on the channel. I think they look really cool. And I'm so close to 1,000 subscribers, guys, so it'd be amazing if we could hit that before the season starts. So if you would consider subscribing to the channel to help support me, that would be amazing. And also, if you did enjoy this video, please do leave it a like. However, I will be back in a couple days' time for a brand new FPL video, and it's going to be a good one, so you won't want to miss it.